Y'all, this book right here. When I tell you every chapter I was boo-hoo crying. Okay, give it up for the Black male authors. Okay, let me go ahead and get that book, and baby, I could not put it down. Hey you guys, welcome and welcome back to another video. If you are new to my channel, hi, my name is Nandria. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you are not new to my channel, girl, I know this is different, okay? But this is an accomplishment that I was like, I have to share. So backstory, growing up, I was always a reader. I loved English class. I loved writing essays. I loved reading. I was a sci-fi girl. Of course, I read the entire Harry Potter series. I read the entire Hunger Games series. I read the Maze Runner, everything, you guys. But as you get older and you start getting more responsibilities, reading starts falling low on that list. And it wasn't until I got to grad school, and this is actually going to be so funny. Well, it might be funny to me, but not funny to you guys. But I am a very stubborn girl. So when I first came to grad school, I was meeting with some grad students, and they were like, and I was like talking about things I was interested in that I wanted to pick up again. And one of the things that I mentioned was reading, and they were like, oh, well, like, because we're reading all of these articles, you're really not going to have that much time for reading. I was like, word, bet. So I literally took that as a challenge to see if I can get back into reading. Now, it was a big flop, but actually I take that back. It wasn't a big flop. It was a flop, but it wasn't a big flop. So I started reading, but I realized that my reading interests have changed, and they don't make a lot of sci-fi books for adults that I'm aware of, at least, or that I was interested in, because for a moment in grad school, I did also work at a bookstore. So I wasn't finding a lot of sci-fi books that I was interested in. So I just kind of picked random books here and there, started them, didn't finish them, or started and finished them, but didn't like them, or whatever. But 2025, I put on my to-do list, or my goal list for 2025, to get back into reading. And as of today, which is July 3rd, 2025, I have currently read 8 books. Now, some of these books were good. Some of these books were great. Some of these books were not worth the hype, but that is what this video is for. So today in this video, I will be talking about / reviewing the 8 books that I've read so far this year. So the first book that I'll be talking about, and these are not in a particular order at all, I'm literally just grabbing whatever is on the top of this pile. But the first book that I'll be talking about is The Other Westmore. Basically, without any spoilers, the gist of the story is about 2 Black men who are both named Westmore, and how they live 2 very different lives. One went to jail, and one is actually the governor of Maryland right now, which is so funny because I was doing an internship my last semester of grad school, and we were very interested in Maryland and a lot of the initiatives that they took forth, and they kept saying Westmore, and I'm like, why is that name so familiar? Lo and behold, it is the man that wrote this book. Now, you guys, I absolutely love this book because I am a person about perspective and narrative. And I think the fact that he went and found this other man that had the same name as him but had a completely different life, and went to know him, and I believe they became friends, if I can recall correctly. Like, it's just so crazy to me. And they're also both from Baltimore, so it's just so crazy to me how life works so differently for so many different people, and it really just put life into perspective for me. I would definitely give this book a 8 out of 10. The reason why I don't give it a 10 out of 10 is because it is kind of like memoir style. It wasn't really like a book, but he did a pretty good job for his first book. And there's also some pictures in here that I really love, that also let me know if y'all can see that, but he also put some pictures in there from both of the men's lives and the people in their lives. So I thought that also helped with like imagining this. It's not really a story because, like I said, it's people's real lives, but imagining it all come together. So he did really good job. So that is my take on The Other Westmore. Ooh, you guys, this one is also a memoir by a Black man. And I was just like, okay, give it up for the Black male authors, okay? Because growing up, I don't think I ever, and I don't want to really say that because my memory is very fickle, but I rarely read books by Black male authors. So the fact that I have 2 already, I think this is the last one though. But yeah, I was just very very happy about this. But the next book that we're talking about is called Black Boy Smile by D. Watkins. What's actually crazy too is this man, I believe, is also from Baltimore, if I recall correctly. But this book goes through the life of D. Watkins from when he was 9 years old to as present as could be up until the point he wrote this book. And he talks about like his experiences in Baltimore, his experiences specifically as a Black man in Baltimore, and the things he goes through. And I really love it. Once again, I am a person about perspective. I love hearing about people's life stories. I love hearing about the journeys people have gone through, because just because you're not on that same path doesn't mean that you can't learn from them. Like, there's so many possibilities of how life can play out, how life can happen. And I just love when people share their stories for other people to hear, learn from, enjoy, cry. I definitely cried a couple times while reading this book, just because, like, y'all, as Black people, we really go through so much, but we really don't hear a lot from Black men. So I really also appreciated that perspective. But yeah, I would also give this an 8 out of 10. Once again, just because it is a memoir. I am really I love storytelling and making things up and stuff. But aside from the fact that it is a memoir, it is well written. So that is my take on this book. The next book is called The Coincidence of Coconut Cake. You guys, this was actually kind of like a random book that I got. I want to say I get 85% of my books from Thrift Books. If you don't know about it, Thrift Books is basically an online store where it's like a thrift store but for books, and you can get some really good books for really cheap. But because I purchased so many books from there, I ended up getting a free book reward. With the free book reward, you can only get a book that's like $5 or less, I believe. So don't quote me, but yes, I think that is it. So I went through my wish list, and this was on my wish list, and at that time it was on sale, and it was like $4 and some stuff. So I went ahead and got this. But you guys, I actually really enjoyed this book. So this is like a romance book. I never really read romance books like that growing up, unless you count Wattpad. But if you count Wattpad, you're sick. So this book is basically about a chef they're either in Wisconsin. I think it's Wisconsin. Hold on. Yep. Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So it's a chef that is in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. My goodness. And she has this really nice restaurant, but unfortunately she got a really bad review from a food critic that is really popular in her city. So eventually her restaurant had to get closed down. The plot twist of the story is her love interest is the food critic that wrote the review for her restaurant. However, she didn't know that until like the very end, closer to the end of the story. But I would give this book a 9 out of 10, because the strongest thing about this book for me is that the author wrote from her point of view as well as his point of view. I absolutely love that. Because as a woman, I think it is kind of a little bit hard to write from a male point of view, but you could clearly see the switch. So I also loved, because it adds like it adds more dimension to the story, because you're not just seeing from her perspective, but you're also seeing from his perspective and the people he's talking to and things like that. And you see how all of the pieces come together. So I really love that. It's just a very coincidental like plot twist. You don't know how life works out kind of story, which is what I really like, because there's times I'm like, girl, look in the mirror, it's right in front of you. But the reason why I'm saying that is because I can see his point of view and I can see everything that's going on. So it is a good read. So I definitely would recommend it to those who like romance or those who are trying to venture into romance. So that is my take on this book. Oh, y'all, this book right here, I think I also read this in I want to say 4 days, maybe 3. So this book is The Perfect Find by Tia Williams. And funny story about this. So because I read a lot of a lot of popular books, I would always try and watch the movie to see if the movie accurately depicted the storyline and the gist of the story from the book. So, but usually I would read the book first and then watch the movie. So I was watching a podcast episode with Gabrielle Union, and it popped up that she produced and starred in the movie The Perfect Find. And I'm a lover girl, okay? And she was talking about how it was a movie for lovers. So I went ahead and watched that movie. And then I was texting my friend, who is also an avid reader, because I realized also in the podcast that the movie was based on a book, but I was like, Netflix is right here. Like, I could go watch the movie. It ain't no doubt. But I love the movie so much, so I texted my friend and asked her if she read the book, and she did. And she didn't know there was a movie, so she ended up watching the movie, and she told me that the movie was different from the book. So I said, you know what? Let me go ahead and get that book. And baby, I could not put it down. Tia Williams, you ate that. You ate that, Buki. You ate that. What I really enjoyed about this book was just a woman reinventing herself and realizing that she is more than who she thought she was when she was with this man. Clock it. And that is why I would say I would give it to a younger girl. But I definitely do think, I'm 25, and I learned so much from this. So I definitely think women in general would definitely enjoy it, but I feel like it is the audience. But Gabrielle Union even said that she had her husband read it and he had a different take on it. So share the book. It's a Black woman author anyway. Share the book, okay? Share the book. But yeah, she truly did an amazing job. This is probably going to be one of my top 10 books of the year, no doubt. But yes, these are my takes on The Perfect Find, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. Okay, y'all. This book is actually so funny because so many people recommended this book to me. And when I say so many, I mean so many. I posted something on Instagram. I can't remember what I posted on Instagram, but people were like, my sister the serial killer, my sister the serial killer, my sister the serial killer. So I got it. I got My Sister the Serial Killer. It was a rough start for me because I couldn't really get the gist of it. Also, the chapters were 4 or 5 pages. And I felt like we were hopping from topic to topic, and I just didn't like it. And I think because I'm also in a space where it's when I see weird, I move out the way and let weird people do what they want to do. But this girl, and I get it, it is her sister, but this girl is really, in my opinion, ruining her life for her sister. And I can't even give a synopsis of the story because it'll basically give it away. So if you're interested, please go and check that out. But I was not a big fan of this book. I was very confused at certain points, and there was definitely a time where I just had to go on Google and be like, what the heck is going on? So I don't know if it was the writing. I don't know if it was the storytelling. I don't know if it was I don't know, but this one just didn't work out for me. So I would give this, I actually don't even want to rate it because I can't really give it an accurate number to accurately display how I'm feeling about this. But let's just say undecided rating on this, but that is my take on My Sister the Serial Killer. This book is 7 Days in June, also by Tia Williams. This was the first book of hers that I read, and I enjoyed it. Now, the same friend that I told you guys about, who's an avid reader, she wasn't the biggest fan. Now, I enjoyed it because I think I am becoming a romance reader. However, I feel like we just got to expand a little bit when it comes to the storyline. There was a little bit of trauma bonding in this book between the two love interests, which, everybody has to make it a little different somehow, but I don't think it really changed the gist of these romance stories. So this one, Tia Williams is a good writer, as a base level. I can clearly envision what she is saying. I can see the story lay out, and I really enjoy her writing. It's just the story for me, it wasn't the best. Like I said, I did enjoy the book. I did enjoy reading the book, but the storyline is a little bit predictable for me. But I did like the characters. My actual favorite character was the daughter. I can't remember her name. But she was just kind of the force to be reckoned with. Nonetheless, I think this is a good book. I will give this a 7 out of 10. Those are my takes on 7 Days in June. Okay, you guys, we have 2 more books. Bear with me. I'm actually going to do this book first because this book, y'all, this book broke me down. This book is The Rage of Innocence: How America Criminalizes Black Youth by Kristin Henning. Now, I've read nonfiction books before. I've read Why Are All the Black Kids Sitting Together in the Cafeteria? I've just read some nonfiction, but this book, y'all, I don't know if it's because it's specifically about kids or I don't know what it is, but when I tell you every chapter I was boo-hoo crying. Boo-hoo crying. A lot of these were during the time that I was alive. She talked about Trayvon Martin. She did talk about other kids who have been victims of police brutality and violence towards Black children. And these times I'm over here thinking, what was I doing in 2018 when this was going on? What was I doing in 2017 when this was going on? And I'm just like, once again, it puts into perspective, there's a lot of people, especially Black people, who are not here on this earth just because that's how life played out. And then to see the facts of it, like certain stories where behind the scenes is because of just such hatred and such cruelty towards people for the color of their skin. Y'all, I just couldn't take it. This book, I think it took me about a month and a half to read it, because every time I picked it up, I was like, I have to mentally, physically, emotionally prepare myself to read this. I'm giving this book a 7 out of 10. Let's say 6.5, because it is very informative. Like, if you want to know about statistics regarding police brutality towards Black children, please read this. If you want to know about the comparison of youth sentencing between Black and white kids, and Black males and Black females, like, it really goes into detail. I feel very well informed, but I'm also sick to my stomach. And I feel like reading this book, I really registered what they mean by ignorance is bliss, because I cannot look at life the same anymore after reading this. And I don't want to deter you from reading this, but if you want to educate a young Black youth, or educate yourself about how the experiences of some, honestly, I don't even want to say some, because it's a lot. I would highly, highly, highly recommend this book. Miss Kristin Henning, you did that, baby. You came with your facts, you came with your receipts, and I love that for you. But damn. But those are my thoughts on the Rage of Innocence. And now, last but not least, okay, this book is You Made a Fool Out of Death with Your Beauty. You guys, this book me off. I remember texting I literally read this in a day. So you're probably like, why are you so mad at it? This author is an impeccable writer. Like, when I say imagery, when I say great storytelling, when I say grammar on point, when I say great writer, I mean great writer. But for me, it was literally the story that me off, because there's this grown woman who finds a great young man and then falls for his father. And that's all I have to say, because once again, this is another book where it's like, if I tell you a little bit, I basically tell you the whole thing. So if you're interested off of that, you go ahead and read that book. But I just felt like a lot of it was also very predictable too. Like, based off of what the characters were doing, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna do this. Oh my gosh, she's gonna do this. Oh my gosh. And I'm just like, why y'all doing this? Why y'all doing? Y'all just making your lives harder. So I got beef with the character. But once again, that's how you know that it's good writing. Like, you ever watch a movie and the actor did such a good job in portraying the character that you hate the actor? That's how I feel. Like, she did such a good job writing this story that I'm like, these characters are dumb. These characters really messed up their lives. These characters, like, put me in the story. I promise you I wouldn't do that. I would give this book a 7 out of 10, right? Just based off of writing alone. Now, storyline is where she lost me. I was intrigued to the point where I couldn't put it down, because I'm like, what? I just gotta see how it happens. And the end, oh my gosh, the end got me upset, because I'm like, girl, you made all this drama unfold to just be like, yeah, let's see. But I don't know if she's gonna come out with a part 2 or not. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. The way she ended the story, I doubt she is. But nonetheless, I will say that this book, once again, is going to be for some romance readers. But if you got little patience like me, and if you appreciate common sense, this might not be the book for you. So I need some closure with this book. I think that's what it is. I might read it again just for like different perspective, because 25-year-old me might think different from, let's say, 28-year-old me. So we'll see what happens. But for now, those are my thoughts on You Made a Fool Out of Death with Your Beauty. So we have reached the end of this book review. Now, out of all these books, I think my two favorites are going to be these two, which is going to be The Perfect Find and Black Boy Smile. Oh my goodness. So definitely drop your current reads or any recommendations you have down in the comments below, because I still have the second half of the year to go. So excited to see how many books I read for the second half of the year. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more videos like this, in addition to all the other videos I post, make sure to subscribe to the channel and join the family, and I will see you guys in the next one.